Hello YouTube, greetings from the Lazy Eyebrow to our 2023 TFCon Orlando customization panel. And I briefly mentioned it, but I did not give enough credit to Switcraft in this video, so I'm doing that now in the intro because the fact that I didn't, or any of us, is just criminal. Switcraft put this together, he reached out to us, he reached out to TFCon, he went through the whole rigmarole of setting that up with TFCon, which I heard was not as easy as it could have been, and then he got our pictures together and the PowerPoint and the link tree and literally everything about this was put together by Switcraft, to the point where if he had not have done this, high chance I would not have made it down. So again, huge shout out to Switcraft for putting this together to make this all possible, and I hope you enjoy the show. Enjoy!
All right, Transformers fans, it's noon and it's time for our very next panel. Very excited about this one, the art of action figure customization, how to transform your favorite figures. So let's give a big TFCon welcome to our presenters. And let's see what they have to share with us today. So I'll pass it on to you, my friends.
Okay. So, yes, this is the art of action figure customization. It's how to transform your favorite figures.
Closer to the mic.
What?
Closer to your mic.
Yeah, closer to the...
Better? Oh,
Yes.
that's much better.
They want to hear you, man.
There we go.
That's what they're here for.
Can you hear me now?
Good.
So,
It's a Verizon commercial now.
what we're going to do today is we're going to run through kind of different tiers of skill levels. This is what we personally feel the tiers are. So something easy to me, maybe something easier for your Mockimus, or easier for Lazy Eyebrow, or, you know, in his sleep for Sam. So we're going to kind of present how we got into it, what we feel like are, you know, easy, mid, and advanced, and then take questions at the end. Sound good? So I'm Switcraft. I'm a custom creator, pop culture custom creator. So a lot of my stuff I like to do is mashups. That's kind of my shtick for things.
Language.
And I am Grimlockimus. I kind of dabble in the more Beast Wars era stuff, a little bit of animated, Shattered Glass as well, and just kind of try to dip my toe into everything on that.
He's our painting wizard.
I appreciate the name.
You know.
Yeah.
Why, hello, TFCon. Greetings from the Lazy Eyebrow. I've been animating for 15, 16 years, but I've had the YouTube channel for 11. I do customization on the side when I'm not animating these toys, and these are my various repaints and adjustments and stuff. And this is the guy we're probably all interested in.
I don't know if that's true. Look at the response you got. I'm Sam. I'm a figure designer and printer, so I'm missing a lot of the practical skills.
Yeah, look at the response you got.
So I design figures from scratch and then 3D print them, and very, very occasionally finish projects and sell the files. And yeah, here is some of my stuff that I've been waving around aggressively for the entire convention so far.
It's been very aggressive.
So entry level, this is where everyone starts. For me, my first entry level figure was a Titans Return Chase, where I just did a simple head swap with a 3D printed cliff jumper. What I consider entry level for my skill level is third-party company, add-ons you can buy. There's a Mortis upgrade for Battle Core Prime that turns them into Nova Prime. It's a kit, you buy it, it's easy. Same thing with the core figure for Titans Return Ultra Magnus. And weapons and accessories like Renderform had with his axe for Prime are kind of easy add-ons for your figures, but it's still customizing. It's your toy. You're taking it from the box to something you want in your vision. So don't discount like bought upgrades. It still makes you a customizer.
Right, and entry level for me, I mean, when I first started customizing, it was all just minor repaints here, painted eye, a battle mask, just really minor things, just kind of get the feel for, the paints and the brushes you're using. And then again, I mean, or what was it called originally? Repro labels?
Depending on where you are in the US, it's or the world, it's repro labels or toy hacks.
Yeah, the sticker sheets, I'm sure everyone's aware of them. I mean, and again, it's a form of customizing. You're taking, a base figure and doing something to alter it. Me especially, I love the little insignias. Third-party toys, you throw one of those on, it. Now it's an official Autobot. But not really. Don't let Hasbro hear that. But and then also, I think it got cut off a little bit there. Rhinox is kind of hiding in the corner. He's a little bashful. But panel lining too with paint markers, or his horn is supposed to be like a chrome marker. Little stuff like that. To start off with.
I basically the same thing. What Grim just said is entry-level stuff, how you dip your toes into the custom kind of thing. So in that picture is what I'm holding now. This is just a Studio Series 86 Jazz with Toy Hacks labels. It used to be called Repro labels, but they changed to Toy Hacks about 5-6 years ago. Other things you can do, so if you see that Bumblebee, the only thing I've done to that is add a little bit of orange to the turn signal indicators and a little bit of chrome on the headlights, and that's a custom. So I've noticed there's a lot of fear surrounding, like, oh, I might ruin my toy. If you want to customize your toy, literally, it's all you got to do is just put a sticker on it. It's a custom. It's one of a kind. It's now yours. As far as the 3D printing side of things goes, for the entry level of that kind of thing, normally I find if you take a 5mm cylinder and pop it on anything, in this case a briefcase for a skit involving Orion Pax, you've just made an accessory. It takes you about 5 minutes. You just take that little cylinder and there you go. It's on Blender and you're sprinting. It's honestly not that hard, in my opinion, anyways. How about you? How's your entry level going?
Well, so some of these bits may look a little complicated at the get-go, but allow me to break down really what I see. So entry level for me is sort of you're learning how to use whatever program you pick. Obviously, if you're doing 3D design and 3D printing stuff, you need to start learning some CAD stuff. I get a lot of questions about where to start and what program to use, and the real answer is pick something you can get, use it. And with that, you can start making things like basic heads that you see in the bottom corner. I made bots because, the design is not complicated and the mechanics are very simple. You get to start learning how joints and stuff work, how you can fit bits together. There's a little sound wave I did in the corner. He looks quite nice, but he's just printed in color. He's basically just some rectangles. Isn't Soundwave always? But you can get a lot out of a little if you just start being creative. And it's simpler things like this that let you, as I say, start learning programs and things. Even that hammer might look impressive, but the secret of the Forger Solus Prime is it's a really, really simple design. It's like 6 planks rotated. And, finding creative ways to do simple things effectively is a huge, is how you start building up to complicated things.
And if you guys caught Alan's panel at 10, a lot of what he does for basics on how to tweak your printing and your printers, it's a great resource. I'm sure you can find him online. If not, we can find him for you. But he's got a lot of basics on setup, on how to print stuff once you've got it and tweaked. So intermediate's kind of mid-level. God bless you, whoever sneezed. For me, I do a lot of repaints or redecos. A lot of them end up being Hasbro official, not official for me. But for me, I do a lot of head swaps and I do a lot of redecos on them. So I use the Legacy RC mold to make flare up, and or I use some of the new Wreckers figures to create a lockdown. Oh, there we go. That actually works better.
Now we can hear you.
Sorry about that. But yeah, a lot of stuff for me is just, it's a simple mix of redeco on the paint. Grab them, take them apart, paint them, add the Toy Hacks labels to them, and head swap occasionally. So for me, that's pretty much the easiest one to do.
All right, and my intermediate, and just to you got me paranoid about the mic now. My mic's working, right? Good. You can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So, no, my intermediate is kind of a little step further from where my beginning was, which is just like full-on like repaints. And that's probably the most daunting thing for customizers, because you're taking, like minor things, you can always like correct them, they're small enough, but then to fully customize a figure, I think that's where a lot of the fear comes in. Like you're going to ruin whatever you make, and that it's going to be a lost figure at that point. But I mean, I've still got my first attempt on this guy. He's in the photo, but my little Waspinator here. I mean, I had no idea what I was doing with him at first, but that's why you do this beginner stuff first, the little paint jobs. You learn how to use the brush strokes, the paints to use. You get that level of comfort before you go on, and then you have that experience before you go into a full repaint like that. But
and we have different painting styles. So
oh, yeah.
His painting is amazing. And I use like Rust-Oleum 2X from Walmart and Elmer's paint markers from Walmart for my stuff.
Don't we all?
Which far away, these look great, but up close, his look great no matter what distance you are. So that's all different skill levels.
oh yeah.
So, yeah.
So my intermediate, you're starting to modify parts, you're starting to get a little paint, you're starting to even replace parts. So if you see that prowl and that blue streak, I mean, I 3D printed those. That took forever because it would have to take so many iterations of, okay, I tried that, but that didn't work, so scrunch that in a little bit. And see, the Ironhide's the same way, where I had to measure out with a set of calipers all the tolerances, figure out the angles, and do all that nonsense. So that is kind of where, like for me, it was about after a year or so, I was kind of getting into having to retrofit parts on. As far as the painting and customizing things go, if you're not into 3D printing, we have things like that Soundwave, where this is a Siege Soundwave that I painted the tape deck door black, and I added red to the eyepiece and the missile launcher with a fine paintbrush. So to get to there, it does take quite a bit of practice, but this is after doing several months, if not years, of the basic kind of things where you're putting the stickers on, but after a while, this isn't enough. You kind of get a taste for it, and then it's trial and error. There are other figures, I don't have pictures of them, from 8 years ago where I did screw them up, and the comments on those videos would not light up on that. This wheeljack is terrible. I know. And then I did another wheeljack, and it was better. But I bought a third wheeljack 3 days ago. I'm going to do it again. So mistakes happen. It is trial and error. You will spend a little bit of money, but when you get something good, like I feel this Soundwave is, or even that Trailbreaker, I took a saw. You don't see those arm panels going down. You actually see them on the legs there. Yeah, and it looks more like Trailbreaker than it does Hoist. So there is kind of a bit of a learning curve, which is why we're on intermediate now. And you will make mistakes, but once you kind of get a feel for it, you can make some really great stuff.
And I did steal that idea from you for this.
Did you?
Yes.
I didn't even get a good look at that, but it does look good from here, so.
That's the point.
Right on.
I helped with that.
Yes, we did. Yes,
I
we
made a
did.
little gun.
We appreciate your efforts.
Sam created the gun.
So for me, intermediate, to start with, building off what the esteemed Mr. Eyebrow was saying, to start with, doing things that add on to official figures, like replacement parts, can be both a great opportunity to try and like get better at sort of designing what you have in your head, because you're trying to line up with existing toys, and also fiddling with and messing with official figures give you a real feel for how joints can work, how things are meant to, fit together. And so an example here of a relatively recent one was the breakdown upgrade I did, where essentially all I've done is remove the backpack and design a replacement backpack that goes in. And then you've got a different car.
That was a fun project we did.
That was good fun.
That was a lot of fun.
And to be fair, you then did actually improve the files in terms of how they worked a lot. I sort of just, but it's mechanically that's not complicated. It just takes a bit of, practice. I have the example up there of, I've stolen pictures from Grimlockimus because he makes beautiful things. But we worked on the Marzinger toy, where it's like a new face, and it's a backpack, and it's the fist, and those are all designed to work with a toy, and this is where sort of the 3D printing stuff really does segue in with the painting, because, it opens up even more stuff you can do. Mm-hmm. And then, for example, you've got the RC there, where I reshelled RC into sort of the Terminator comic style, and you've got the Metroplex here, like they may look a lot more complicated, but so Metroplex is just a sculpt exercise. You know, you're building a regular figure. It's Metroplex. He definitely transforms. We all agree he transforms, but kind of does he? And so you can kind of worry about that later. So you just design a cool thing and then
Dude just lays down and sprawls out, man.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and so you know, as I say here, you're sort of building up, looking for, you know, building on the skills you're looking at in beginner stuff.
Yeah. And I will say, as Sam said, like Sam built the gun for my Pizza Planet Totobot, and it's perfect for it. And the best thing about doing customs is that you have a great community you can lean on, you can talk to, you can troubleshoot with. So it's not like you're by yourself doing any of this stuff. It's, you know.
No, absolutely. I mean, the number of pieces Sam's made for me, I mean, 2 of them are right here, but I mean, just that collaboration aspect of, you know, I'm not comfortable in this wheelhouse, someone else is, you reach out, and yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you see someone making customs, they're clearly very, very passionate because it's a thing you put time and care into. And I can assure you, if you contact them and ask them questions, they're going to be thrilled to tell you things and give you information and say how they did a thing. You know, we all have done that with each other.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. I think we spent, 2 hours yesterday being like, so how'd you do this? What technique did you use? Like,
yeah. We were planning this panel, and what we were actually doing was just discussing how we made
just
things.
the cool things, like, how'd you do that?
So, advanced, everyone tackles it differently. For me, my advanced stops at more paint application, and it's more, I guess, idealized like vision. So mine are like projects. I have like 23 Ghostbuster Transformers because I have a thing for those. So like I'll make a Slimer to go with it, or I turn Art Fire into Ectofire, or I do the Mario Brothers. So for me, my background's marketing, so I have this bug to like not try to fool you if you know my stuff, but to put over crossover stuff out, where the concept and idea for me is it's good enough to fool you if you see it. So I mean that's to me, you know, is fun. As Hasbro slowly makes all the crossover figures that I make already, but I think I'm safe with most of these. So yeah.
So advanced for me. Sorry, Pablo's looking a little rough up there.
What happened to Pablo?
So for me, advanced is when you start like really getting into the like fully disassembling the figure before you paint it. Like, I mean, after I stopped doing hand painted, you can see I've been primarily using an airbrush, which Tarn is graciously holding there. But I mean, just going for more detail, adding new heads in, you know, part swapping here and there when able. And just trying to find ways to incorporate the look you're trying to get to for that figure. Like, for example, the Primal there, you know, doing the faux fur underneath the shoulder pads to really kind of complete the look. You know, just trying to do more detail like panel lining. As you can see on the Cheetor, each of those spots is painfully hand painted on for that process. And you know, and again, just trying to achieve that look you're looking for through all the processes you've learned, through going through, again, like the beginner and the intermediate steps, you know, learning that process, getting comfortable with it, and then fully applying it with, you know, just kind of everything you've learned along the way.
So my advanced repaints are the ones where you tear apart figures and rebuild them in a different color. Like this Sideswipe, which used to be a red alert, actually. And then the Sunstreaker. Oftentimes, my repaints come from, I can't afford that figure, and I've gotten to a point where I've been doing this for years that I can do it cheaper. So, Sideswipe, for me to import that, I didn't want the Skywarp. So, Red Alert, there was like 12 of them in my area. I bought a Red Alert, and then 3 weeks later, those Red Alerts were still there, and it's like, okay, I feel morally justified by buying this second Red Alert. Then I tore it apart, then I blasted it with a can of Rust-Oleum Candy Apple Red, and then reassembled. And the head was actually off a Siege Sideswipe, so I have a Siege Sideswipe with a Red Alert head now. That's fun. Other full-on repaints, there's that Sunstreaker. The other reason I do these things is because I think Hasbro did a terrible job in the first place. Does any remember how bad Earthrise Sunstreaker was when they picked it up? There was 3 different yellows on there. None of them was that color. One of them looked like it had been sun faded at the factory. So this one was a tear apart thing, a repainting it and then putting it back together. And honestly, it's still not finished. You can see there should be a little bit of black there on that little chest bit, as well as an Autobot symbol, and I've got to do some other stuff that I just never get to it. This is a common theme with my customs, is I'll get 90% of the way there and be like, what is this project? Sometimes that happens too with your projects. You really got to commit to finish them. Other times it's just fun little things. That's a little bug bite that I turned into a homage to the AE86. But you got the little tofu delivery on the side of there. That required a little bit of 3D printing. I made a pop-up headlights to glue one place there, and then that's like a vinyl stripe, and then painting the bottom of that. And then Brawl, that was a KO, and I honestly just put some army green into an airbrush and just went hog wild. Now that black figure, can anyone guess what that is? Nope. Kit. That is a X-Transbot's boost. So it used to be a wind charger that I've recently started a new technique of dyeing the plastic. So that figure comes in red, and there's a recipe that you have to do, and it has to be at a specific temperature. I don't know what the Fahrenheit is, but it's in Celsius it's 70 degrees. So it's like just hot enough that it hurts, but not so much that it's boiling so you don't warp the plastic. But you put acetone in it, you put a lot of water and synthetic dye, and then you wait about an hour and all your parts come out black. There's no painting. You don't even have to take apart the figure, and you get a really nice black figure that is very durable. And then I just painted the little bits. I can't remember if I have anything left to finish that, but it does transform, and it turns into a Knight Rider thing. There was a little bit of grinding on that too to add in the front scanner bar on the hood. I regret that I didn't transform it for this picture, but I was rushing when I got out the door that day. So I'll post it on my YouTube channel when it's done. But yeah, advanced level is basically you've been doing this for years. You usually, like Sam said, there's passion behind this. There's a reason for this. Either you're cheap and you want a sideswipe, you hate what Hasbro did, or you just want a really cool figure that doesn't exist, like crossovers like Twin Cam, like I called them, and Knight Rider kit.
I love the idea that sometimes customization is as simple as getting angry at Hasbro distribution.
Absolutely.
And then for advanced stuff here, it's, you know, for me, it's you're now doing sort of full transformations and you know, fully engineered figures. You are, you know, for me, that's where I start trying to do like adaptations of designs, because, you know, you need a certain level of like understanding that you've built up from simpler projects to know how to approach something that you've never seen transform before, other than by watching, you know, it squash and splattered together in the show model. You know, World, for instance, is you know, me trying to do a IDW character who, and you have a level of flexibility there where you just design whatever, because
That World's a print?
yeah.
You know, I've been going for 2 days thinking that was some figure I was unaware of. Like the animated stuff I knew of. I didn't know about Whirl.
Oh yeah, no, he's it's not all animated. It's about 80% animated, but it's
Yeah.
not all animated.
Well, fair.
And it's also at this point that you'll start wanting to make your own versions of things. Like that lug nut is sort of inspired by animated, but it's very much my own take, and the mechanics were all mine. And that Alita one in the corner was entirely my design. I wanted to see if I could turn her into a Peterbilt truck. Turns out I could. You know, like that's, once you get to this sort of point, you have the freedom to do what you want.
I didn't even know about your Alita. That's amazing.
Yeah, I kind of abandoned it, and I can't work out why.
Oh, is it the same reason why I didn't finish this?
Maybe.
Yeah, probably.
Strong chance. But yeah, it's there's a level of jump between simple stuff and advanced stuff, but the skills you're using here are fundamentally the same things you're using to make a bot. You know, it's just experience, time, and a lot of
trial and
failure.
error. Yeah. Like, how many times have like these wheels, for instance, for this thing was I'd make a print, it didn't work. I'd make another print, oh, went too low, it falls right out. And nope, I've already broken one wheel today by doing that, so I got to pay myself $8 when I get home. But sorry, not to steal your thunder, but it's like there's a lot of trial and error. It's like you will print something, it won't work, and you will go back to the drawing board and move things like millimeters or a 64th of an inch for you people. So it's like there's such fine tuning that goes on with 3D printing.
Yeah. Oh, and just a personal bugbear, if you do ever decide to design transformers, always block out the transformation first. Don't make a pretty little robot and then try and turn it into a vehicle. I did that with Whirl, and that was an exercise in madness.
I'll bet.
You find yourself spending 12 hours just, well, these joints need to be 1 millimeter here, and then a little bit here, a little bit here.
Well, it's like even the official designers, they start in vehicle mode.
Yeah.
And then they unfold from there.
Yes, that's much smarter.
Yeah.
Don't do what I do.
No.
I mean, do this stuff, but don't do it how I do it.
So Sam's stuff kind of bleeds into the insane projects.
Or the crazy go nuts that I call it.
So I don't want to know what the tier above this is for you is, Sam. But
we're all like amazed at your advanced stuff, and here we're going to go into this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this was a custom-built Teletran that I did. I was using a papercraft model for the longest time in my videos, and it's like, I've got a 3D printer. I've had it for 2 years. Why don't I upgrade this? So I think this was 3 days in just designing. And what's nice about this is there's no retrofitting, like I was talking about with Sideswipe. There's no, oh, that doesn't work, so I got to redo that, or that doesn't work, and move that 64th of an inch I was talking about. This is a ground-up thing of just looking at pictures, and then you start with your basic shape. Like for here, I started with a wide figure. Actually, it started with measuring these figures. How big do I want this Teletran? So I take reference pictures of the Transformers figures, like the show, and then, okay, well, if this figure is, 16 centimeters tall, then Teletran needs to be, I think I have it at 25. And from there, the only retrofitting I actually have to do, so if you see that big main screen with Fendrana drifts on there, that's actually my phone without the case that I found a spot to put that in, because I thought it would be easier to actually have those photos with the actual graphic I needed on it instead of going in post and erasing all the bots and then putting something over top. Turns out I was right. So, and then from there, those screens, those are dedicated pop-outs. I made a bunch of, I hadn't talked about water slides, making my own water slides. Here's a perfect opportunity to do that. So I would go on Amazon, and you can get printable water slides for either inkjet printers or laser printers. And like for the inkjet ones, you print it out, and then you have to spray paint it with clear coat to make sure that the water doesn't tear it apart. But you can make your own graphics. Like Toy Hacks, for instance, they make it with vinyl and give you those stickers. This Sideswipe, I made those stickers myself. So instead of inconsistent clear plastic, you've actually got a steering wheel and a gradient and all that. And that takes a lot of work too, because I have to use the calipers to measure out things and then go to the graphics, and there's trigonometry involved sometimes and all this other stuff. It's fun. That's why it's an advanced. So Teletran's really cool, I found, and then it took 5 days to print, and then I painted it, and now I use it as a prop. You want to go to the next one?
I do.
Twincast. Twincast is a working Bluetooth speaker that, wow, the design process behind that was insane, and let's see if this even works, because sometimes, oh, it did work too. So this was a commissioned, sponsored thing with Creality, because they gave me a laser cutter, and they wanted me to make a project, and what's not shown here is anything I used the laser cutter for. It's the internal bits, which are the speaker components. This required buying a Bluetooth speaker on Amazon, completely tearing it apart, doing the math on sound dynamics, and making a speaker box that would house all that. I don't know why I didn't give you that. I have photos of the making of this that would have been very relevant here.
But on your YouTube. No.
And a YouTube video. You can actually, I do have a YouTube video. It is a working Bluetooth Twincast, and you can look that up, and you can see the whole process start to finish. But briefly, it was I took apart a Bluetooth speaker, rewired everything, piggybacked momentary switches, ran them to the front, and these buttons actually work. I have to select a song on my phone first, though. Who's got a song request?
We're going to get
Cybertron.
Are we going to get copyright struck on this?
I'm asking the wrong crowd.
Oh, on YouTube? Probably.
Come on, good music. Oh, the touch still comes up. Okay.
You got the power.
I know it lights up my darkest hour. But anyway, so it all works. It goes through the speakers. It sounds proper because I did the math, but it could sound better. I've got to talk to an actual sound engineer. And those buttons work. For instance, that's the play button, so I can pause it. And then the volume up also works. So it was a long process trying to figure out how to retrofit everything, how to reorient it so that it looked like Twincast, because this man was bringing Blaster, and I didn't want to upstage him. We got to have two different guys, right?
What?
We got to have two different ones. You got to have Blaster and have Twincast. This is the rebuild model.
Yeah. Oh,
that's why it's better.
So, and in line with my easy, you know, this is take apart, don't damage electronics, and Walmart spray paint and masking and put it back together. So.
And for all intents and purposes, that looks great. You can walk around and be like, I've got a working Blaster.
Yeah. It's heavy because it's, you know,
it's an actual stereo.
Yeah, it's real heavy. But I use a Bluetooth modulator for mine, so it just casts my phone to whatever blank channel on here. So.
Yeah.
This is honestly easy for anyone to do too. This is like my easy category, even though it looks like it's not.
Yeah, because all you got to do is buy something that works, that exists, that functions, that someone a long time ago that was much smarter than all of us worked out all the figuring out of, and then just take it apart, repaint it, put it back together, and you've got yourself a custom. Whereas this is like, this was many days of designing to get it to work, because there was, like, the PCB in here was wider than both speakers put together, so I have to angle it in a very specific way so that it still works, and then have the wires coming off it that then get rerouted to the back, so it still charges through USB, and I can still plug in someone else's auxiliary in.
So what you're saying is don't shake it aggressively?
Don't shake it aggressively.
Right, good. Okay, I'll bear that in mind.
It's a shaken Twincast syndrome. What? Jamming out too hard? We can head bop, we just can't do this, you know?
The head can move, the hands have to stay still.
Exactly.
This is important for customizing.
We can dance, but we got to do that gyroscopic stabilization nonsense. What? Oh, then it would break. I don't want to strap it to a chicken's head. Take it away. How do you got to do it? The crazy go nuts.
Well, I mean, the thing is...
Oh, you didn't have any?
No, well, the thing is it overlaps slightly. When you get to a full figure design, like a fully engineered toy, it's kind of hard to gauge like complex, like how you would say what is advanced, what is insane, whatever.
Yeah.
Because there's so much of it is up to you. It's where you draw lines around design. It's like how complicated you want to make it, how, you know.
Well, like even to build on that, it's like we all have different levels. Is you put breakdown in your intermediate.
Yeah.
I would have put that in advanced.
Well, but this is it, because I'm focused entirely on the design portion. I don't have any of these helpful practical skills that make things look pretty after the fact, which is why Scrapper's head is made of like 12 pieces and takes me about half an hour to build.
Yeah.
There's no better way. I can't think of how I would do it faster. But even with that, I feel it's quite important to say that don't be afraid to fail.
Yeah.
There will be times where, and I don't mean that you get through it and you can't work it out and you're failing to sort of get the mechanics to work. I mean about the times where you think you're nailing it and you're not necessarily nailing it. I believe there's a slide next where
Is there a slide next?
There should be one.
About failure?
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought you had one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought it would be really cool to do sort of an anime-style Super Ginrai. And you can see in the middle, he's not quite the legendary fighter I wanted him to be. A bit of a diaper going on there, not quite sure why the arms are that long. Those shoulders probably should have been higher. Oh, and after a long time trying to make it work, he can't transform. I was very happy with the little Ginrai, but I built him, and when I first sort of sat him down and looked at him, I went, oh yeah, you didn't nail that. You did not do well there. And that's going to happen. Like, inherently you're going to be ambitious. You'll have ideas you want to do, and you will go for them. And sometimes you will nail it, sometimes you'll run into your own skill level. Like, I didn't have the sculpting ability at the time to pull this off. And that's fine. You know, I then scaled down, tried a different project, kept moving. and one day I will conquer that.
Well, even in hindsight, you also look back on your projects where, like, I don't know if anyone's watched my stuff, have seen the Ironhide feat I made for the Earthrise figure. You got one. Fantastic. I hate that thing now. At the time, I stayed up for 2 days straight building that thing, and when I was done, I was so proud of it. I reached out to at least 2 or 3 different people, seeing if who can manufacture this? This is amazing. I look back on it now, and it's like, man, that was butt ugly. Like, the vehicle mode, great. The robot mode, there's these little wing things, and I don't know if anyone's seen Non-F's approach to that, where they just take the window section, and instead of rotating it like I did, they rotate the whole piece, and you've got toes. That's a way smarter way to go about that. What was I thinking at 3 in the morning? I don't know. It was 3 in the morning. But my point is that at the time, this was, 2 years ago? 3 years ago, something like that? I looked at it, I was pleased with it, I was happy with it, and nowadays it's like I've made way better stuff. And that will happen. There is a learning curve, not even to just your own skill levels, but what you think is good. So that when you keep going and keep improving, you're going to get better because you just have more skill sets.
And you learn a lot on the way too. Like my Meddler Mystery Machine mashup is made from a KO Ironhide, and things I didn't realize going in was KO plastics aren't like regular Transformer release plastics.
Really?
And they do not like paint, and it makes them weaker. So things like his arm, if everyone saw me trying to put him up, just...
Yep.
I mean, he's great, posed, but one of his front wheels came off, and one of his, and I learned from that.
Switcraft, are you saying that KOs aren't the same quality as the official product?
For some reason,
Color me shocked.
Amazing.
Not that we condone using, KOs, but...
But sometimes they make a great donor figure for a mystery machine custom.
Yeah, like if you're hitting yard sales or, targets ridiculously, 70% off for battle damage, Ironhide and Prowl, stuff like that. Like, find a figure, get us on sale, so the guilt of damaging a figure you paid for is
Yeah, that's a great point, because who wants to spend $200 on a masterpiece and screw it up when you spent, 60 on that?
Yeah, well, not even. I paid
not even
35 for that.
Well, there you go. And then there's your practice figure, and it broke, and you're not even chuffed, or you're not even chuffed as happy. I learned that recently.
But eventually you get comfortable enough and know your abilities, so you can buy a Titan and paint the whole thing like Thomas does.
Yeah, I can't really say too much on that, considering I melted an Omega Supreme when I was learning how to die.
Right.
It was worth it. I don't have it with me, the Omega Doom I did. Everyone knows that was like a Hasbro warehouse sales they do, right?
Yeah.
I had bought an Omega Sentinel to do as Omega Doom, because, Omega Supreme, Omega Doom, it kind of seems like a good idea, right? I thought I was comfortable with dying at first. A little bit of a mistake. Water was a little too hot, and Omega Supreme kind of somewhat melted. I wish I sent the picture to you. He's just like a messed up little ball of sadness and $100 down the drain.
It's like Roger Rabbit dip.
Yeah, but pretty much.
I did that with a Skywarp once before I knew what acetone was. It's like, oh, I've screwed this up. Here, I'll just leave it in acetone overnight. And I came back and just goo.
Yeah, he'll just sink to the bottom with his thumb up like this.
Yeah, pretty much.
See, I thought I could just dip it in more hot water to fix it, which turns out wasn't a good idea.
Why won't the thing that ruined it fix it?
Exactly. But that mistake, you learn from it, and Omega Doom that I did as actually partially died. I learned not to just dip the whole thing in boiling water. Imagine that. But you learn from your mistake, you move on, and then look at the results when you take that as an experience.
Yes.
You learn by learning what not to do, you learn what to do, and then you get results.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
What was it you were saying yesterday? What did you buy? The Gladi something, the Megatron.
Oh, yeah, I am. If anyone has one for cheap, I want the Bold Forms Gladius, the legendarily worst Megatron. The simple fact is, you can learn a lot more from a spectacular failure than a significant success. And genuinely, that is a work of passion that someone put a lot of earnest effort into, and both as part of a mark of respect and also out of a engineering fascination, I want to take a look at it. It may not be a good toy on its own, but it has a lot to offer in terms of showing you that you can make something that looks great and works terribly, but there are lessons to be learned there. The concept was not bad.
This panel.
Well, aren't you glad he organized this?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Get
But
yourself
yeah,
a bowl
it's-
forms.
You will make engineering spaghetti, and that's fine. There's more to learn from that. You know, this guy right now is engineering spaghetti because to bring him with me, I worked for 30 hours without sleep to finish the design, and half of that process is going, damn it, I'll do that better next time. Version 2 will be brilliant.
Coming in 2032.
Yeah, something like that. Files for him are available now, and I'm hoping for that around 2063.
Yeah,
if I don't die.
that checks out. If you don't die. Too many cheese.
Pray for my health if you want a Mixmaster.
Yeah, if you guys have any questions, you can line up by the mic. I threw it's scan. That's a link tree to
Scan that.
everybody on the panel's social websites, Cult 3D, everything in one easy package space.
Is that our panel? Now we're on to Q&A?
Linktree Custom Bros.
All right. Well, I get to put this now.
Afternoon, gentlemen. Happy to have all of you here. Lazy, it's great to see you in person
likewise,
finally.
Hello, TFA 1024.
It's TFA.
I can transform the Cheetor too if you'd like. I'm not sure.
So my question to you guys is, you've obviously taken a lot of time and effort and energy into using your skills for customizing from periods of weeks to months to even years. I assume all of you guys have been doing this for years.
Yes.
Very much so.
So this is a little bit of a two-parter for each of you. What is your favorite custom that you've made, and what is
Oh,
your
no, you're
least
gonna throw
favorite
this on
custom
us.
that you've made?
See, the problem is I don't sit around going, man, what do I hate the most?
Doing questions.
Which one of my works do I really
We'll
love?
be right over there in a little. Yes.
They're talking, so I guess I'll go
that's-
first.
Yeah, by all means, please.
By all means, I'm going to go. Do you want to go first?
No, you started.
Oh, what's my favorite custom I've ever done?
Transformer animated third party.
All right, I'll start.
Go for it. I'll think.
Probably my favorite is the
special edition.
lug nut I did.
got the idea.
He was sort of designed to go with sort of Iron Factory styling, and to this day I'm very, very pleased with how the engineering worked for the legs. I was trying to avoid kibble and stuff.
Thanks.
In retrospect, I realized that everyone who
drew 'em, Sam
is
designed
even the
them.
slightest bit interested would have preferred I just did a big animated one.
Yeah, Sam-
But it's a great little
I drew 'em
toy, and I still love how he came
I
out.
drew 'em in
If I remember
three
correctly, he got
dimensions.
reviewed
Sam
by
modeled them
PO,
up for
didn't
me.
he?
Pardon?
And then
Yes, Pio,
Took a
I
few
sent him the files. He was the first to have the files,
I've
and
met
he
him
printed
3
one.
times.
And that was a nice little,
No.
boost to the ego, because clearly I should keep going if he really likes it. You saw my least favorite. It was on the screen. To this day, I still dream of a sort of proper super robot Ginrai design, and that art was what I was aiming at. Did not happen. That was
One
not
day.
a success. But one day.
One day. My least favorite, that first Wheeljack custom I did. I was proud of it at the time, but looking back, it did very much look like I sneezed on the figure, and it just happened to look like the Alitalia paint scheme. So there's a reason why I redid it in vinyl, which, funny enough, is starting to peel, and I don't know why, which is why I bought a third one. As for favorite, I just had it too, but it's gone. I mean, this is one of my favorite customs because it's just really, really cool. But there was a repaint I did. It's like Kit, or one of the crossovers basically, is honestly one of my favorite ones I've done. Kit's right up there. Favorite worst?
Favorite worst. I think Sam already knows what my favorite is. Yeah, you worked on it. He gets half credit. The giant Magna boss, because I'm the only person crazy enough to do 3 Titan Magna bosses at this point. If anyone else beats my record, they're welcome to try it. But no, I mean, the head, the feet, everything that he designed was great. I mean, that thing wasn't, I got to make another one. I actually sold it a while back. Someone made me an offer too good to refuse. But yeah, it had to be the Magna boss. As far as least favorite, I mean, not counting the melted Omega Supreme. That's actually a tough one.
I know, right? You just sit around wondering what you hate the most.
Yeah, I don't look at my stuff and think that I'm not happy with this. I don't like it.
How about we've only got 15 minutes left? How about we just keep it to favorite?
I'm okay with
Is that okay with
Cool.
that?
Let's just do favorites.
Yeah. So favorite.
10 minutes left. Yeah. So we got to be quick on the questions here.
Yeah.
I have lots of children. They're all my favorites.
Oh, that's a cheap answer. And you
I know.
it.
I really like. I was excited to do Todabot, just because I love Pizza Planet stuff a lot, and then I realized, oh, there's another third-party yellow one that's basically the same color scheme. I have a Velocity figure that I like. I totally forgot what the base is for that, but it's from Bumblebee movie. It's not Shatter, Dropkick.
It's very nice.
So I made a Velocity out of Dropkick, and she's probably one of my favorite. She's kind of a parts former because her head's got the big old IDW wings coming off. But I kind of pulled her, actually inspired by Sam's RC, to make her because we don't have enough official fembots.
We don't even have much IDW stuff, so it's great that you guys are doing stuff like that too.
Yeah. I mean, we need a node, we need an official lug, we need a new, good, non-Titan return Nautica.
Agreed.
You know, so to me, like, I love my Velocity just because she's like that nice, bright teal blue with gray and orange highlights, and I just think she looks badass.
Cool.
Thank you very much.
Next question.
Yes.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, by the way, if you guys want to come up and see at any point, go for it. Yeah. Just to peruse. But go ahead. Sorry, your question.
Considering we're kind of short on time, I just really have one question for Sam.
Okay.
I know for the World Custom you made, you had like thinner parts when you 3D printed it.
I had some what parts?
Like some parts were like a lot thinner compared to like the rest of the figure. Is there like a fear of that breaking, or how do you keep it like sturdy?
For this specifically, it was just a case of trying to be clever about how you assemble it. So the thin leg pieces are split down the middle, and then they're not glued together, they're just plugged into the ends. And essentially you have two pieces now that are in tension with each other, and it just prevents them from falling over.
Oh, okay.
If you're just smart about orientation,
like
you can get a lot more
the
strength than you
Fensor one
think.
did. Yeah, I mean, the
Okay,
thing looks
that's
great in
smart.
blue, I'd say.
Thank
Very
you.
much.
Yeah.
I just want to say that y'all have been a huge inspiration to me. I've actually got one of my customs with me right now.
Thanks.
But I've got a question for Sam and a question for Lazy. So, Sam, what would you say is like the ideal clearance for like a hinge joint or like a 5mm peg?
So the ideal like tolerance.
Yeah, ideal tolerance.
It kind of depends on your printer or what your setup is. For my FDM stuff, I add 0.1 millimeter to either side of a part or 0.1 to the radius of the peg.
Okay.
But the honest answer is you just got to play with it until you find what works on yours.
I honestly go the other way. Like, I have to shrink 0.1 millimeters because resin likes to expand. So like you said, you got to play with it.
I've been trying to beg them to be like,
And for
just make
Lazy.
this sense. As customizers,
Could we boost the Q&A mic? I can't really hear
I
it.
just grabbed a bunch of craft paint and threw it
clean
on.
And for Lazy, I've actually got an Ender 5S1 myself. Are there any tricks that you have to get like proper dimensional accuracy with that?
So I've got I have a set of calipers.
Yeah.
They're metal. They go down
also want them
to
to make
100th of a
Ghostbusters
centimeter
with
or a
actual
millimeter.
logos.
It's like it shows me 15.06 millimeters. So
I have to make my own.
whatever that says, I go with that. If it's a circle, I'll use the wide bit, and
I always
okay, it's
appreciate
that,
when
and
people
whatever,
buy
and we'll
my
just
stuff
go from
and
there.
they
And then
actually
when I print, and if it's not that, I will scale it down by however much it needs to be scaled down by. So if I print it at 15 and it comes out to be 15.3, it needs to come down 0.3.
All right, thank you.
They're scaled down.
Hello, everyone. I have a very simple question. What is a figure? This is for everyone. What is a figure that has been released, third-party, official or otherwise, that
What's
you
a figure?
saw?
Sorry, what?
Huh?
What? Sorry, what's the question?
Closer to the mic.
Sorry. My question is, what is a figure that has been released or revealed that you saw and was like, or instantly like, oh, I gotta do something with that. I gotta turn this into this guy, or like I gotta edit this, or just instantly knew I gotta do something with that.
Okay, I have a silly answer to that.
I have no way to peg on the roof.
I got the KO of that big Firebird Nice, the RC with the proportions, because on a engineering level and a design level, it's a brilliant toy. And so I bought it, and then I did a more traditional G1 head, a new chest, and a new waist, and suddenly I have a really cool sort of anime-style RC that I don't have to feel embarrassed having on my shelf.
And then same time, getting everybody.
Internet,
You go.
and I painted one.
Did you have, is that question for them
Yes,
too?
for everyone.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
everyone.
Well, you go now.
What was the question?
What is a figure that has been released, or in third party or otherwise, that you instantly knew you had to like customize in any way?
Strong arm.
Strong arm, yeah.
Fair enough.
I've got like 4 customs of her, and she's not bad, but the head's too big, so like I got her, and she's getting a new head as soon as I get a chance.
And for me, it is obviously the Studio Series Primal, because he has more colors than just gray and black in the show. So
Sure did.
Thank you very much.
You, sir.
I'd like to say real quick, thank you, Lazy, for your content. It helped me get into the collecting scene. And I just have to say, like, in one of your videos, you said you used a program to design, like, the alternate feet for Earthrise, or Studio Series, rather.
Do you want to know what figures or what programs I use?
Yeah, like, what programs do you use?
Okay,
Like
so I
Blender?
design all of my 3D upgrades in Blender.
Yeah.
A lot of people use Tinkercad and AutoCAD and all that stuff, and great for them. Like he was saying earlier, find your tool and use it and get good at that. Like I tried Fusion 360, and I just never got into it. And I liked Blender. I had experience kind of with it before in high school, so that's just what I used. And then from there, I sliced in Cura for the filament printers and Lychee Slicer for the resin printers.
You guys can pick them up and look at them. I don't
Thank
know if
you.
want to get a
Welcome.
closer look.
All right, this is kind of for everyone. A problem I always have with disassembling figures is not necessarily removing the pins, but trying to get them back in afterwards without just completely bending them to uselessness.
Right.
How do you approach that?
Heat. Simple answer. I have a soldering iron that I will heat up the pin and then push it out with a screwdriver. When it has to go back in, and I've screwed up figures this way too many times, but it's usually I will take the fine tip of the soldering iron, put it on the end that isn't going into the figure yet, and then just push on it gently, and it usually just slides right back in.
Okay.
I don't know if that's the right advice, but that's what I do.
I know.
Fair enough. Thank you.
It just looks so good.
Hi, massive fan of all your works. So this is, again, kind of for all of you. Have you guys figured out, like, a usable or, like, a decent way to get, like, the flathead pins out? Like, the ones you can't screw out, you can't punch out. It's just a flat pin.
No, and if you ever find out, could you let me know?
I'll try.
I destroyed most of my breakdown in the process of making that kit, so it was a good thing I finished it.
There's a reason why we designed Breakdown to be like, no, you got to take it right back to the windshield with screws, because there was no getting those pins out.
No chance.
I love my son's names. Sorry, what was that question?
I say that because I used to do.
How do you get your pins out? Is there a way to get the one-way pins in?
No.
Yep.
Are you going to get Studio Series 86 Ultra Magnus?
And so
I already did.
I haven't got there yet.
Hey!
Thanks.
I haven't gotten there yet where I'm like.
Okay, so we gotta wrap up things for the next panel. Yeah. All right, huge round of applause for our customizers, sharing their experience, sharing their projects with us.
We're, hey, Switcraft. Switcraft. Were you saying that there would be, if you wanted to ask more questions, where were we going to be? Did you figure that out?
I haven't, but we
Over
can.
there, or out there.
We'll
or
be over there.
Over there
We'll be
somewhere.
outside of this room.
Oh, yeah.
So yes, that was our panel. I hope you enjoyed. This actually wasn't the only panel I was on, which was a bit of a surprise. So if you want to see the second panel I was on, you can go ahead and click that to bring you to Rodimus Primal's channel, where I actually crashed his panel. And what an experience that was. I will be doing a whole full recap at a later date. Today is not that date, but it was quite the experience, suffice to say. I met a whole bunch of people and got a whole bunch of figures. But again, if you want to see more of me at TFCon, there's Rodimus Primal's channels. This has been the Lazy Eyebrow.